So, the manhwa kicks off with Seo Woohyun checking out this rundown building. He's on the phone, telling someone he's in Samcheok, snooping around the place. Surprisingly, it's not too shabby for being abandoned. Woohyun mentions Mr. Yoon will send over some pics of the site, asking the caller to approve them once they land. And just like that, he hangs up. As Seo Woohyun surveys the room, he ponders whether there might be a squatter lurking around. Everything seems oddly clean for squatter territory, hinting more at an illegal occupation. He's just about to consider calling the guards to clear the place, when his thoughts are suddenly cut off by the unexpected arrival of a woman riding a bike right into the room, announcing loudly that it's time for breakfast. The woman keeps chatting away, calling out Red Bean, "Mummy is here," and gets greeted by a chorus of meows from the cats. She takes off her helmet, asking the hungry felines if they are ready for breakfast. Just as she's doling out food to the furry critters, Seo Woohyun sneaks up behind her. When she turns around, he casually mentions they might have crossed paths before. Startled, she flinches, but he catches her hand, insisting he recognizes her. She quickly denies it, claiming he's mistaken, and that she's just here to feed the cats. She tells him to go ahead, and do his thing while she heads out. Then, out of the blue, he throws a playful question her way, asking if she's ever been into playing hide and seek. She replies with a firm no, stating it's not her cup of tea. Just as she's about to leave, Seo Woohyun surprises her by calling her Ms. Lee Byul. In Seo Woohyun's head, he's thinking she drove him crazy all night and vanished before sunrise. Then, she suddenly pulls her hand away, insisting he's mistaken and must have confused her with someone else. She points out that there are plenty of people who resemble her. He responds by saying she keeps denying it, so he needs to confirm if she's the right person or not. Without warning, he grabs her face, causing her to apologize and explain that she wasn't herself that night. She insists she didn't run away, but had to go to work. She questions how someone like her, just an ordinary employee, could be involved in whatever he's insinuating. Seo Woohyun is taken aback by her remark about being an ordinary employee. She politely asks him to release her, and he complies, dropping a bombshell by revealing she's actually a city desk reporter for Justice Daily. He casually mentions that she shouldn't be surprised he did a bit of digging into her background. He's got all the details down pat: her workplace, her desk location, work number, extension code, and even her personal number. But despite his thorough investigation, it was all for naught because she covered her tracks expertly before disappearing. He couldn't track her down anywhere until he stumbled upon her right here. In that instant, she realizes she's in deep trouble. At Lee Byul's seafood joint, as she walks in, her mom, wielding a knife, starts yelling, demanding to know where she's been. They're swamped with a last-minute reservation for a massive party, and her mom can't handle how busy she is. Lee Byul quickly retorts that's why she's there. Before her mom can get another word out, Lee Byul whirls around and snaps at her, telling her to quit nagging. With that, she slams the door behind her. Behind the closed door, Lee Byul feels like she's stuck in a nightmare. Why on earth is Seo Woohyun showing up now? After that unsettling encounter, she bolts from Seoul and lands at her parents' place in Samcheok. She's overwhelmed by grief, losing sight of what life even means anymore. By pure luck, she stumbles upon an abandoned building. Despite never being used due to a lien, it becomes a sanctuary for her. Inside, she encounters mackerel, marshmallow, cheese, and Red Bean, 4 stray cats. Just like that, the place takes on a profound significance, giving her a newfound reason to keep going when she's on the verge of giving up. But why is Seo Woohyun there? How did he manage to track her down? She pauses for a moment, glancing at herself in the mirror. She notices her sweaty, unwashed hair, her worn-out coat giving off a bum-like vibe, and pants that seem oddly soiled. Did she seriously just bump into him looking like this? Living carelessly since her arrival, She wonders if Seo Woohyun judged her based on her appearance. Suddenly, she lets out a scream, and her mother's voice from outside the changing room demands her presence to get to work. Moments later, as Byul starts working, her mom instructs her to serve guests on the second floor where the party's happening. With a quick okay, Byul gets to it. Shortly after, she can't help but notice a group of sharply dressed people in town, a rare sight. Upon closer inspection, she realizes one of them is none other than Seo Woohyun. Byul's mom remarks that Seo Woohyun looks like a model, while Byul can't help but wonder why he always seems to appear when she's dressed like this. She supposes her appearance is somewhat put together. After serving Seo Woohyun's table, she tells them to enjoy their meal, feeling his gaze on her as she walks away. At the back, Byul's mind is racing with thoughts about what might be on Seo Woohyun's mind. She then asks her mom if she can head back now, and her mom gives her the green light. Byul casually stretches out her hand, prompting her mom to ask what it's for. With a sly grin, Byul quips that nothing comes for free, so she'll just pocket 50,000 won. Moments later, it starts to rain outside, and Byul walks along with her umbrella. Suddenly, someone taps her from behind and suggests they share until they get to the parking lot. When she turns and sees Seo Woohyun, she flinches and lets out a shout, demanding to know why he did that. He nearly gave her a heart attack. He questions why she's so taken aback, to which she responds that it would be strange not to be surprised, right? I mean, he did come out of nowhere. Seo Woohyun apologizes for startling her, and casually asks if she'd mind walking him to the parking lot. After a deep breath, she agrees, specifying just to his car. As they walk side by side, Byul wonders why she's feeling so nervous all of a sudden. Has the parking lot always been this far away? Seo Woohyun glances at her and remarks that this must be where she ended up hiding her hometown. Byul simply nods in agreement, admitting that she supposes it is. Spotting his car, she tells him he can head off now. He keeps staring at her, and Byul can't help but wonder why he suddenly looks so serious. Then, out of the blue, he asks if she remembers anything from that night at all. With a stern tone, he adds that he'll be persistent if she doesn't. She stares at him, thinking to herself, what if she doesn't remember? Is that going to be a problem? Quickly changing the subject, she tells him that the rain has stopped. With a polite bow, she bids him to have a good day. But just as she's about to leave, Seo Woohyun grabs her arm, demanding her to hold on right there. He questions if she's looking to stir up more trouble, expressing his hope that she hasn't forgotten all about it. She chuckles, asking which particular night he's referring to, claiming she's been forgetful lately. Seo Woohyun responds by saying she shouldn't act like she's forgotten, because it hurts him. He taps his chest, indicating that it hurts right there, that she's hurt his feelings. Flashback to 5 months earlier, Seo Woohyun sits inside his car, his phone constantly buzzing with notifications. His driver remarks on the flood of messages, all suggesting he go out with a beautiful actress. In his mind, Woohyun grumbles that he's turned down the offer 5 times already, but Ms. Bang just won't give up. Who cares about the right age to get married? It's the 21st century. Seo Woohyun declares as they arrive at Muying restaurant. He quickly instructs his driver on what to do regarding his marriage plans. Scanning the room, he thinks to himself, where's the woman in the ivory suit? She must be alone. Finally spotting her, he apologizes for the delay. Glancing over at her, he notices she's fast asleep. He mutters to himself, who falls asleep in a place like this? Taking a seat, the waiter comes over and asks for their order. Seo Woohyun hushes him, requesting just a coffee. Seo Woohyun can't help but think to himself that he's never seen someone doze off while waiting for a date in a hotel lounge. It's baffling how this supposedly super smart and beautiful woman ended up falling asleep at a time and place like this. Just then, the lady suddenly opens her eyes wide and jumps up, apologizing profusely to him. He casually asks her if she's finished with her nap, reminding her that he's the one she was supposed to meet today. Surprised by his statement, she internally confirms that this is indeed her blind date. Realizing her mistake, she looks at him and apologizes, explaining that she just closed her eyes for a second because she felt so tired. She mentions that if she had sensed his presence, she would have opened her eyes immediately since she wasn't asleep. But he counters, saying she's been snoring for the last 30 minutes, pointing out that he's already finished his coffee. Feeling embarrassed, she quickly stands up, bowing apologetically. She explains that she fell asleep because she's been staying up late the past few nights. Clearing her throat, she suggests that he's here at her mother's request and offers to pay for his coffee, assuming he probably came to decline. Glancing at her phone filled with messages, she pushes her chair back, standing up abruptly. She mentions a voicemail from work. Seo Woohyun can't help but think to himself that it seems like she's the one here to reject him, not the other way around. Who is she trying to shift the blame to? She bids him farewell, but he stops her, suggesting they go for lunch. Confused, she asks him who they'd go with. He responds, reminding her that she came here for a blind date. Even if she's going to turn him down, he believes it's proper etiquette to introduce herself before they part ways. Or is he mistaken? He can't just let her slip away that easily, whoever she may be. With a smile, she acknowledges that's the way to do it. He extends his hand, apologizing for not introducing himself earlier, and reveals his Seo Woohyun. She shakes his hand and introduces herself as Lee Byul. She advises him not to ask if she's sad, as it's so cliché. Then, she suggests they grab something to eat. And that's how Seo Woohyun and Lee Byul met through a blind date. It's been a strange day right from the beginning. Seo Woohyun reluctantly agreed to a blind date because Ms. Bang insisted. But when he arrived, he found his date fast asleep. If this is her idea of making a memorable first impression, he's at a loss for words. It's out of character for him to ask someone, who was about to leave without even giving him their name, to grab a meal together. As they stroll into the building, they pass by a girl who matches the description of his date, holding a timeless magazine. Seo Woohyun can't help but think to himself, something really went wrong. Seated at their table, Byul scans the menu and thinks to herself, there's something off about this menu. Did he even check the prices before ordering the special course meal? She remarks that the full course meal of 15 dishes costs 500,000 won, and with taxes included, it's 550,000 won. For two people, that's over 1 million won. Seo Woohyun defends the restaurant, claiming it's the best Korean restaurant in Seoul with 3 Michelin stars. He assures her that he's never seen anyone complain after eating here, so she should just give it a try. He reassures her not to worry, saying he'll handle the bill. She thanks him and mentions she's heard he has his own business. She assumes his business is thriving, considering he's willing to spend over 500,000 won on a single meal. She wonders what a meal like this means to him, especially compared to the average salary paid by big companies. Seo then questions what it means to her, wondering if everything with her has to carry some deep significance. In his mind, he confirms his suspicion, she wasn't meant to be his date. Ms. Bang wouldn't set him up with someone who's so sensitive about a meal like this. He decides he should tell her now. Byul then apologizes, expressing regret if she offended him. She admits she's had a lot on her mind lately, which has left her feeling a bit on edge. Maybe that's why she was being sarcastic. In his mind, Seo notes her swift and sincere apology, coupled with eyes that appear both sincere and discerning. He can't help but wonder what kind of woman she is. As they are served the meal and begin eating, Byul keeps talking non-stop, which starts to annoy Seo. Once they finish, she remarks that this was the most expensive meal she's ever had on a blind date. In fact, It's the priciest meal she's had in her entire life. Even if she forgets all about him, she'll always remember this meal. She laughs, suggesting he should remember her as someone who slept and ate well. Seo contemplates whether he should tell her about the mix-up with the date. After all, she's someone he'll likely never cross paths with again. Despite this, he asks her for her phone number. But why does he feel the urge to see her one more time? If you're eager for the next chapter, drop a comment expressing your interest in a part 2. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Until next time, ciao.